Alright, here we go. We got 8.2 add, subtract, and multiply polynomials. We're going to continue on with polynomials and all the stuff we do with those. Really, this should be a review of Algebra 1 stuff. This isn't really anything new, so we don't have a ton of examples to do. So here we go. Add or subtract these two polynomials here. All you got to do is find your like terms, line them up, and since we got add right here between, you add the two together. So we'll go and do, I guess, find your highest power things here. You got x cubed and x cubed right there. So 4x cubed minus 5x cubed is a negative 1x cubed. Okay, you're going to have 4x squared, and then your other x squared is going to be negative 2x squared. So add those, that'll be 2x squared. Okay, you got negative 3x and then negative 4x. That'll be negative, I guess, 7x, if I can think here. It's a Friday. Probably a little off my game here. So what else we got? 10 and negative 4. Add that. That'll get a 6 right there. Okay, and then make sure it's in descending order, and then that would be your polynomial right there. Some people kind of ask, what's going on here with the parentheses? Really, you don't need them written right there. I guess they use the parentheses to kind of signify the two different polynomials you're dealing with. Now, when you have a subtraction problem, this is where it gets a little interesting here because you're subtracting this polynomial from the other one. And what you can do, there's kind of two approaches. You can think of just what's, 3x cubed and then minus negative 4x cubed. But what I like to tell my students, especially my Algebra 1 students, when they're learning this for the first time, is let's write this and distribute that negative right there. And then we'll call this, negative 4x cubed is going to be positive 4x cubed. We'll have negative 6x squared. We'll have negative 9x. And then we'll have positive 3. And then, after you do all that, then it's just like the top problem. If you have a plus in between, you just add your like terms up. So I think that's going to be 7x cubed. Add your regular x's. Oh, I forgot my squared there. Right? Add your regular x's right there. That's negative 2x squared. You'll have negative 8x with the regular x's, and then negative 4 for your constant terms right there. So that's adding and subtracting there. Just a big thing with the ones with minus is make sure you distribute the negative. Okay. You also got multiplying polynomials, and these are kind of like your FOIL problems and that type of stuff. Like, for example, I'll start us out with an easy one. If you have something like x plus 3 times x plus 6, you would FOIL, first, outer, inner, last with these here. Which really, it just means distribute x to everything and then distribute 3 to everything. If you do x times everything, it's x squared plus 6x. If you distribute 3 to everything, it's just 3x and then plus 18, I guess. And then that simplifies to 9x and then plus 18. So y'all been doing FOIL for a while. Now, we get into this class here multiplying, instead of a binomial times a binomial, we're going to do a trinomial times a binomial. So here's how to do this. And there's kind of two approaches that I show students how to do. The first one here is just go through and distribute, I guess, 2x to everything. And if I do that there, that's going to be 6x cubed plus, and then 2x times 3x right there, that'd be plus 6x. 6x squared actually, and then 2x times 5, that'll be 10x. Okay, and then after that, now we're going to go and distribute 3 to everything. So if you do 3 times 3x squared, that's going to be 9x squared. Or 3 times 3x is going to be, I guess, 9x. Or 3 times 5, that's going to be 15. And then after that, go combine your like terms. So you don't have any other x cubed, so we'll just write 6x cubed. And then there's your x squared, so you can write this as, I guess, 15x squared. And then you got 19x when you combine those up. And then the 15, you don't have any other terms like that. So combines up into something with 4 terms. And that's how I approach those problems. Now, a different way that you can do the same type of problem, you can do the same thing that we just did there, but some people are visual and kind of like to use this little box thing to help ourselves keep everything organized. So you can put your binomial over here on the left, put the x and then the -5 right there, and then I'm going to put the x squared, the minus 2x, and then the positive 3 up there at the top. And then, so that'll get us x cubed, that'll get us -2x squared, and then 3x. And then multiply, you'll get -5x squared. Negative times a negative would be positive 10x, and then -15. And then go find your like terms here. So you got x cubed. You got these x squareds right here. That'll add up to -7x squared. Add your regular x's here. That'll be plus 13x, and then minus 15. And then that gets you those two polynomials multiplied together. So anyways, that's how you do that. Two different methods there. I don't really care which way you do it. So just whatever you feel comfortable with. Let's do C here. So this is kind of a new type of problem here. A little bit different here. So when you see these here, I want you to FOIL or multiply two binomials first. What do I mean by that? I mean do two of these at a time. We don't really have a good method for doing all three things here at the same exact time. So take two of these and then do your FOIL here together. So I'll do x times x, x times -1, -1 times x, and then -1 times -1. Just almost pretend like that x plus 2 is not there for a second. So if we do that, x times x is x squared. X times -1 is -1. -1x, I guess. -1 times x is -1x. And then -1 times -1 will be positive 1 right there. And then before I start the next step here, I'm going to combine my like terms to -2x. Alright, and then after that, we're going to roll through with the rest of this here, kind of like how we did above. And I guess I'll do, I don't care, it doesn't really matter here. I guess the box is pretty straightforward, so I'll show you guys another time of doing this first method here. X squared times x is x cubed. X times -2x is -2x squared. And then you got plus 1x. The 2 times x squared is going to be 2x squared. The 2 times -2 is going to be the that'll be -4x. And then 2 times 1, that's going to be plus 2. Okay, and then from there, x cubed, combine your x squareds, they actually cancel out here. And then your x's, your regular x's, that'll be -3x, I guess. And then plus 2. And then that's what that combines to. Okay. And then a couple more here. So people kind of think on these here that you just square x and square 5. This is not equal x squared and then plus 25. Be kind of careful there with that there. So that's not the answer here. If you have something squared, technically you need to write it twice. So really, in a way, it's like a FOIL problem. X times x is x squared. X times -5 is -5x. -5 times that x is -5x again. And then you'll get a positive 25 here at the end. So this actually combines up to -10x and then plus 25. Or x squared minus 10x plus 25. So notice here how that's different than this thing up here. So that's the big misconception. I'd even write that misconception if I were you and just make sure you put a big stop sign by it and say don't do that. So there you go. So I think the rest of these are kind of similar. Well, some of them are actually. So let's see here what's going on with this here. Notice these are conjugates of each other. We kind of talked about conjugates a few weeks ago, but they're opposite signs here in the middle, so something weird is going to happen with these. If you do 5y times 5y, that'll be 25y squared. That'll be minus 15y. It'll be positive 15y. and then negative 3, that'll be negative 9 right there. Okay, and then we can combine our like terms. That'll be 25y squared. The 15y and the negative 15y cancel out, so it's just 25y squared minus 9. Let me make that 2 look a little bit better, like it's a part of it. So there you go. Now with b, I would put a star next to these here. There's actually a very specific order that you got to do this in here. So you have a negative, you got all this stuff, and then you got it squared. So technically you got to square this thing first, then afterwards, then you make it negative. So there's a specific order, to do in this one here. So I'm going to FOIL it first. I'm going to do 4a plus 7, and then times 4a plus 7. And then after I do that, then I'm going to go through and distribute the negative and do all that. So 4a times 4a is 16a squared. 4a times 7, that's 28a. Another 28a. And then I guess a plus 49. But then don't forget, all of this stuff here is still negative. Okay. Now before I distribute my negative in, I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. Some people might choose to do this all together. You can if you want. I think that's 56a. And then distribute that negative all the way through, and that would be 16a squared minus 56a minus 49. And that is it there. Alright, last one here. Notice that this thing is cubed right here. So we're going to go ahead and write it out 3 times this time. n minus 6, n minus 6, and then n minus 6. Okay, so kind of like that example we saw, I guess C up here. It's going to be the same idea. You're going to FOIL 2 together at the same time. N times m is m squared. N times negative 6 is negative 6m. 6 times n is negative 6m, and then negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. And go ahead and combine like terms. And then go ahead and distribute the m minus 6 to this next one here. So m and m, here let's do it different colors so it stands out better. So m squared times m is m cubed. Negative 12m, so that'd be negative 12m squared. M times 36, it's just 36m. Plus m, it's like what? We do 6, sorry, negative 6 times n, negative 6m squared. Negative 6 times negative 12m is negative 12m. Or no, not negative 12. Let's try that again. Let's try 72 there. And that'd be positive 72 since you got the negative times a negative. And that right there, I think that's negative 216, I believe, on the 36 times a negative 6. And then after that, combine all your like terms. That's m cubed. Your m squared, it looks like you got negative 18m squared, if I did that correctly. You got the 36m and the 72m. So that looks like that'll be, what is that, 100 and something, 108. And then that'd be m, and then minus 216. And then there you go, and that is it right there. That's how you cube a binomial. So that's all of those there in a nutshell.